Hello everyone! The 2018 World Chess Championship is over. Magnus Carlsen is the World Chess Champion. Once again, he successfully defended his title against Fabiano Caruana. And until the next World Chess Championship that starts in 2020, that will of course be very interesting. But until then, there are plenty of more chess games to be seen. This is one such game, but before we check that out, I would just like to thank everyone for your extreme support, especially on the day of the last day of the World Chess Championship of the tiebreaks. That day, my channel received in one day the most views ever. I believe it's over 500,000 views in one day. So for a chess channel, that's the I don't know, that's the equivalent of 100 million views in a day for some other channel. So that's really insane. So thank you all for that, and we are going back to 1963. Now we've already checked up on a couple of games between grandmasters and some of the first computer. I've already shown you one game where Bobby Fischer dismantles the green blood computer, although that computer was a bit stronger. But yeah, okay, I still owe you two games between Fischer and Greenblatt, but this was played between David Bronstein and M20. M20 was a Soviet digital general-purpose mainframe computer developed at the Institute of Precise Mechanics and Computer Engineering. The program that is being run on this computer is the Butenko program developed by Vladimir Butenko, and in the early days of chess programs, when even Mikhail Botvinnik was going on about this whole idea, Butenko was actually one of Botvinnik's supporters. So here, David Bronstein faces this Butenko program run on an M20 computer, and it's very interesting. I get, okay, in those days, King's Gambit was a fairly popular opening, but when players were playing these early chess programs, they often played openings such as the King's Gambit, as in those days, unlike today, where engines are just, calculating beasts. In those days, they were actually calculating was the toughest part for the program. So let's check out this game. It's played in 1963 in the Moscow Mathematics Institute, and David Bronstein, everyone's favorite grandmaster, opens with e4. We have e5 by m20, and we have not knight to f3, but as we already mentioned, the King's Gambit, f4. M20 accepts the gambit. We have e captures on f4, knight f3, and here knight to f6. This is a very nice move. In the olden days, g5 was the main line, but then after h4, even ideas like g4 were possible, and then white would often sacrifice a piece here. After pawn captures, queen captures, knight c6, let's say, d3, and then white would simply capture on f4, he would castle, and white would have a fierce attack for the price of one piece. And while this is of course better for black, in the early days of chess, chess masters created beautiful miniatures against weaker players using openings such as this one. So okay, we have knight to f6, e5 now, kicking the knight away, knight to g4, and now of course d4, preparing to capture on f4. And the computer pretty much disregards development. You could play something like d6, even d5, but he wants to protect the f4 pawn, so g5 is being played here. We have knight to c3, and now comes knight to e3. Offering to trade on e3, and that way create a very strong pass pawn on e3. If it most likely it will not be able to protect it, but an interesting move to say the least. And Bronstein doesn't even capture. Instead, Bronstein goes for queen to e2. And okay, we have knight captures on f1, and again, Bronstein doesn't recapture, but there was actually an even better move. Here, with queen e2, Bronstein actually tests the computer. If computer had a bit more power, or if, if this was 1974 perhaps, most likely computer would have played g4. And here white would be in some trouble. After bishop captures, pawn would capture here, and then after queen captures, pawn captures on e3. And after bishop to c4, attacking the f7 square, threatening checkmate on f7, black could go queen h4 check, block, queen h6, creating an escape route for the king on d8. And while this would be a very nasty position to actually play for black, a strong computer would be able to defend this. At some point he would start developing his pieces, and it would be all right for black. But as we are in 1963, here knight captures on f1 was played. and Bronstein doesn't even recapture. He goes knight to e4. And here the computer is very happy. Okay, he allows me to retreat with my piece. I'm gonna go back to e3 where the knight is protected. But of course you can see that this knight is coming to f6 at some point. No one would, willingly do this. But okay, we have knight to f6 check, and now you can either capture with the queen, and then you of course lose immediately, but king to e7 is played. And here you could go for bishop captures, pawn captures, knight captures on g5. You can see that white is completely winning here. But again, Bronstein decides to test the calculating prowess of the m20. We have bishop to d2, and now comes knight captures on c2 with check. The m20 goes for even more material. King to f2, and now knight captures on a1. And here we have knight to d5 with check. King to e6, and now king to e6 is a peculiar choice. If king to e8, you would most likely have to repeat moves here. Bronstein wouldn't have anything better here than to repeat with knight to d5 check, because you don't really have time to capture instead of knight f6 to capture here. After that, bishop e7 is coming. You're controlling the f6 square now with the bishop, and black would simply start developing and win the game. But after knight d5, the computer went king to e6. And here we have queen to c4, not with check, but threatening all sorts of nasty discoveries. And here, trying to deflect the queen, the m20 plays b5. And this is the beautiful position that makes this game what it is, where now, after this b5 move, Bronstein is actually threatening a forced checkmate in 10 moves. So feel free to pause the video here and try to find this forcing sequence of moves. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations, you are an excellent mater in 10. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, capturing on b5 doesn't really do anything. c6 attacks the queen, attacks the knight, black wins even more material and will very soon win the game. On the other hand, if after b5 you found knight captures on c7, this is also winning, but it's not a forced mate in 10. Here you would, after king e7, bishop b4 check, you would at some point win the queen, but you would still have to play on until checkmate actually occurs. So the forcing line we've mentioned after b5 is actually knight captures on g5. And now we have queen captures on g5, and now comes knight to c7 check. And here, if you go to f5, if king f5, then queen d3 check, king goes to g4, and queen to h3, this will be checkmate. So, after knight to c7, we have king to e7, but now knight back to d5 with check. And now you really have to decide what to do here. If you go king e8 here, then queen captures on c8 is very nice. After queen blocks, now you get knight c7 check, king moves, and now bishop to b4 check. You have to block, and now bishop captures. Queen captures, and now queen to e8 will be checkmate. On the other hand, after knight to d5, if you go king to d8, then this bishop to a5 check will be deadly. You will have to move the king, queen captures on c8 again, and we will get a similar idea, only a faster one. After queen captures on d8, this will be checkmate. So after d5, king has to go back to e6. Now comes knight captures on f4. This is very important as you want to clear this f4 pawn, so bishop captures on g5 will be an option in the future. This again comes with check. King to f5 leads to the exact same checkmate we've already shown. Queen d3 check, king moves, and queen to h3 will be checkmate, so black has to go back. King to e7, but now it's a different story as there is no more the f4 pawn here. So knight to d5 check, back again, but now the bishop is also attacking the queen. We have king to e8, and now we have, if king to e6, again we run into the similar idea, knight c7 check, king e7, bishop captures f6, and bishop captures on f6. This results in checkmate. So after knight to f4, we have king back to e7, and now knight to d5 again. And now we have king to e8, and here comes queen captures on c8. A similar idea as we've already shown. Queen has to block, knight to c7 check, king moves, bishop to b4 check, we have d6, captures, and queen to e8, and this was checkmate, and this is exactly how the game ended. So this was one of the checkmates available in the previous variations where we've shown, but after this f4 pawn was captured, then it was forced and black had no other ways out. So yeah, a very nice miniature in 23 moves by Grandmaster David Bronstein against M20 computer. I do hope you enjoyed it, and if I if I make the time, I will also show you the 2 games I owe you between Bobby Fischer and the Greenblatt computer. But yeah, very interesting, and I will soon create a poll where you will be able to vote for next series. I don't know, there are a couple of things in mind, like you know, the Capablanca saga, Aljechin saga, maybe even something before that. Maybe you want to go all the way to Morphy Anderson saga, or maybe Steinitz-Lasker saga, or maybe something more modern, like I am at some point planning to make the return match between Carlsen and Anand, but I don't think that will be our next saga. So I will have to figure out a couple of things so you can you know, vote for the next series. But maybe today, but if not, most likely tomorrow. I would also like to announce I have a very special surprise that comes in a few days. Well, not in a few days, maybe in a week, somewhere early in December. It will be an unannounced series of videos that you will enjoy immensely. And also, I would like to present that, as you can see, there is an info corner up there in the top left corner, where if you have some interesting news from the world, if you are also perhaps a content creator and you have a channel that is able to increase everyone's vast knowledge, feel free to contact me via email or via any social network. And you know, if I enjoy your content, if I decide it's quality content, I will advertise it for free, so everyone can enjoy that as well. So yeah, that's basically it. I would like to thank William Miller, Alexei Trubitsin, Chris Picard, Jeff Blight, and William Fusco for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully with some more interesting content. Thank you all, and once again, congratulations to everyone who found the forced checkmate in 10 sequence. See you soon.